Misfits 9 p.m. extravaganza, heard every Monday through Thursday, right here, 9 p.m. on the Radio Misfits podcast and now live streaming platform. Myself, Pugs Moran. James Parker is also a guest. I don't know where he is. He's a co-host on this show. He's not here, but we do have E. E's here with his freak flag flying. Would you just get a shampoo? Would you just get a fancy shampoo?
No, not fancy.
You just shampooed your hair. It looks very, I don't know, like a 70s commercial that Jacqueline Smith might appear in. It looks very,
Yeah, I didn't do anything. Just let it dry, I guess.
All right. Well, you can at least acknowledge that you're not wearing a hat. You usually wear a hat, so that was an eye catcher. That looked a little.
Yeah, no hat today.
No hat. There he is, Girth Kaplan himself. We were worried. We didn't know what was going on.
Oh, he had to put his suit on.
James, here's what you've missed. 35 seconds of me commenting on Emil's luxurious hair.
Yeah, it's nice.
It's nice. Just got it shampooed.
I'm not really into hair, though, dude.
A dude came to his house and shampooed his hair.
Okay.
I don't know. I am hoping a dude did not show up at your house and shampoo your hair.
I'm very capable of shampooing my own hair.
Okay, well, I don't know. It's a wonderful job.
I refer to it as washing, not shampooing.
The hair looks absolutely tremendous. All right. So where are we on the plans for Friday? Friday, we had some daytime plans. We were going to play hooky from our responsibilities, which, I don't know what those might be, considering this group. But what are we doing? What is the plan for Friday?
I'm in.
Lockwood.
He's in. All right. So what are we doing? What are we getting there?
Okay, we're gonna rent some Ghostbusters costumes and show up. 4 of us. We got to get a black friend, and we're gonna show up and just not explain it. Just show up and sit down like we're there to have drinks. And we don't have to do the whole proton packs and everything. Just
okay. What time are we doing this Ghostbusters party at Lockwoods? What time? That's what I'm asking. What are we looking at here? How long? Because E has like this whole 12-hour. Hey, it's freshman rush week party planned, and I don't know.
I cut the comedy club out in the middle. I cut that out, so it's just now Lockwood Inwood Lounge.
Okay, that's maybe more manageable. That's I'm just saying. I don't know. Although last night we discovered that Emil, don't say that radio advertising doesn't work, because I believe Emil heard like 5 seconds of some comedian on the radio and decided that he was going to bring 20 big shooters to this dude's show, sight unseen. What was his name? Mikey D or something? We learned about.
He was big in New Orleans, and I was just giving James the.
Okay.
I thought James had something cooking or would have known the guy, but he didn't. And I like the improv guy better. So if I was going to the comedy, the Addison Improv would have won the day.
Out. We're not doing makeup.
No, we're not. You're not going to do any makeup. No. Here, I found more. This is the guy we were talking about. The guy we discovered who was playing at the Improv. A guy by the name of Pat McGann, who we thought was very funny, and we can all agree he was better than the guy at the Dallas Comedy Club. So your choices are some guy who does, okay, he's gay. So if you're looking for that kind of, world perspective, you go see him. Or there's a funny guy at the Improv, and that's Pat McGann, right? We agreed Pat McGann was funnier.
Yeah.
Yes, Pat McGann was killer, actually. I liked him a lot.
All right, here we go. Here's a little bit more of Pat McGann that I found that I thought we might enjoy here at the stop of the show. Pat McGann is at the Improv this week, at the Improv in Addison. Look it up. What am I doing? Everything for you?
We're just not one of those couples that talk to each other online. You ever see those people having conversations in front of all of us? Like, happy anniversary to my rock. I know it's been a tough journey. No one else I'd rather be going through life with. It's like, oh, these two hate each other. They hate each other. Because it's tough, right? But you got to go out. That's the key. You got to go out, ditch the kids, and just go out. And we do that. We go out, married couples. That's a blast. You just go out and talk about how tired you are. It's like the game you play. You go out, married couples, everyone's exhausted. It's like a competition. And we don't get any sleep. We don't either. It's like, then why are we here? Why don't we all go home and lay down? Just have the babysitter take him in the basement for a few hours, tear off a nap. Then it won't be awkward driving her home, right? Because that's the worst, driving the babysitter home. That's a broken business model right there. I don't know about you guys, but I come home a little buzzed up. Like, hey, babe, why don't you get out of the car and send that high school girl in here with me? Anyway. Yeah. I'm gonna whip her around the neighborhood for a little bit. Yeah, why don't you, Audio, send that sophomore in here to ride shotgun? I've been drinking for 5 hours. That's the worst drive, getting that babysitter home. I usually just apologize for being 3 hours later than we said we were gonna be, right? Because you're always like, we should be home by 11, and then you're texting her at midnight. You good for another half hour? Because we need 4 of those. We need 4 of those, and we don't have any cash. Did we mention that? We tried it with the advisor. It doesn't work, so we can't pay you tonight, but we're gonna make it seem like your fault because you're 12 and don't have Venmo. Yeah, you go out to married couples, the conversations are just different, right? Now you find out, like, who's cutting cable. Why is that coming up all the time? That's like, did your Jim and Emily cut cable? It's like, no, let's hear from these heroes. How are you guys surviving? It's always some dude. We got Roku, we got, we're streaming a lot. We got a lot of iPads, tablets, using apps. I think it's the same amount of money. It's just like 11 more passwords. I can't really. I'm working on a spreadsheet. Yeah, those are the conversations we have. Everyone's tired. But then the drinks start coming, right? Then all the women, they start making bigger plans. They're always like the end of the table. Like, hey, we're talking about going to Australia down here. Just the couples. What do you think? Let's do it. Sydney, 2020. It's like, that's never gonna happen. Took us 6 months to put this dinner together. 3 couples canceled today. That's my wife, though. She loves making huge plans. Just like puts me on the spot, Like, aren't they a fun couple? We should all go Jamaica. Wouldn't that be awesome? It's like, will you be quiet? You don't have a passport. Jamaica, we're going to soccer tournaments every weekend for the rest of our lives. I do like going out with my wife and her friends, though. It's fun, because they all show up in those open shoulder shirts. You know what I'm talking about? Those are everywhere. The open, the cold shoulder, the peekaboo. Those have just invaded our nation, haven't they? Where they just hand those out to you ladies now? Once you turn 38, they're like, here's your open shoulder shirt. Congratulations, you made the team. Come get your uniform. Now come on, put that on, get out there, show everyone what you're working with. Now every woman's walking around, hey, check it out. Yeah, check this out right here. Here's a part of my body I'm confident about. Yeah, is that turning you on? Right here, just this right there. Stay focused. Yeah, that's where the doctor wipes when I get a shot. Yeah, is that turning you on? Yeah, that's a tetanus scar right there. I've been vaccinated.
All right, that's Pat McGann. He's at the Improv in Addison this weekend. Very funny guy. I'm a big fan of his.
Yeah.
That was really good.
Yeah, he's really strong. He's really polished. You can tell that he's a pro. You know what I mean? He's not up there like, working out what his stage presence is. He's got his whole act down. He is Sebastian Maniscalco polished. That's, he's a pro. All right. James, what do you have? You got anything for us to start us off here today?
All right. I want to start by stepping on some sort of cultural landmines here, because I'm going to say some things that aren't popular at first, but when you put some thought into them, it'll make sense, right?
Okay.
Because everyone's always trying to save the planet or save the environment or save this animal or the snail darter or this species or this bird or this worm or this lizard or some crap. And sure, we need to save some of them. It upset me that the last white rhino died on our watch, like to see some.
Why? Why did it upset you? See, because here's my whole thing with it. I think I tend to agree with you on this. These animals need to prove themselves. I mean, I understand how everything's connected. Butterfly effect. One thing goes away, it affects the entire ecosystem. But no, things have been going away since we started spinning as a rock. You know, we've had extinct. So why? You know what I mean? Why do we need it? Is it because the white rhino's glorious? You know,
because if it doesn't cost me anything, and all other things being equal, why not?
Yeah.
But there are. I want to have the conversation in the other direction here, though. Not like, of course, some things need to be preserved, and some things are kind of indifferent, like if they go away. Or
I want to keep lions and elephants and monkeys. Can we keep them? That'd be cool.
Agreed.
Dogs.
Why? Because they're awesome. They're awesome. Yeah. So let's talk about the stuff that's not awesome. Here's a couple of things, and I'm trying to just break this down so even the most recalcitrant environmentalists will say, all right, some things do deserve to go extinct. Okay.
Recalcitrant.
Yeah, that means they're just stuck in their position, even with opposing evidence hitting them. Anyway, and so I was trying to think of what's the best example, and probably in the animal world, like a hornet. Like if all of them went extinct, what would we lose? Now, I've actually had a similar discussion on a James show like 5 years ago, and someone called in and it's like, well, if you get rid of hornets and all, there's this one species of hornet that turns the bloom on a fig inside out, and without this one specific species of hornets, we won't have this one little variety of figs. And I'm like, fuck them. Right? I don't even like figs that much. And we still have the other figs, right? Just not this one strain. I'm cool with that. And you know what?
Can we get rid of Fig Newton? How is it going to affect the price of Fig Newtons? Because honestly, the only time I intersect with the fig world is in cookie form, and I don't really care.
That is about 90% of my fig experience has been in Newton form.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
I mean, Emil, you probably have a different diet than the average American. You eat a lot of figs.
You eat a lot of fresh figs. Do you?
No, I would say probably 98% of my fig encounters have been
cookie based
through Fig Newtons.
Cookie based encounters, I think, is the predominant way we Americans engage with the fig. Right. James, continue.
So I think I have a better example this time around because I've had about 5-6 years to think about this, and I got the perfect example. Stickers. The variety of grass that grows straight up, and at the end it has these little balls with the spikes sticking out of them in all directions, sticker burrs. I'm talking about specifically those, not like when you have vines that are kind of growing on the ground and they have thorns on the and you step on it and it feels like stickers. I'm talking about like that one species of stickers.
Burrs, yeah.
Yes. So if I have
stuck all over your socks and they're on your new shoes and they're ruined because you had to cut across the field and you didn't even know you were walking past them, and they're on the inside of your pants and in your cuffs. Ugh.
Right. So Emil drops me off in the Arabian desert. I find Aladdin's lamp. I rub it. Genie comes out. I'm like, bro, can we get rid of all the stickers? And he does this. There is going to be a butterfly effect. There are other species that are looking at that, whether it's a mold or a fungus or an ant or a beetle or, that's somebody's food, probably, right?
Can we survive? That should be the only question.
Whatever the fallout from that may be, I'm willing to accept it. Now,
that will happen.
Can we start admitting that not everything deserves to be preserved, and some things not only should you be indifferent about, like the white rhino, that's an indifferent one. You should be anti certain species of both plants and animals. Discuss.
Well, I don't know about necessarily being anti. I'm a very live and let live kind of person, but I can see, if it's going to mean we have to change things about ourselves in order to preserve the red-breasted sparrowhawk, right? Why are we? I mean, we're the top of the food chain, but God love the bird. If it can't hack it, it can't hack it. Isn't that survival of the fittest? It cannot adapt to its current surroundings, so therefore it is predestined to go extinct. That's what happens. And then people are like, boycott this company because of that, or don't let this corporation move into this area and provide jobs because of that. You know what I mean? Those I take one at a time. I'm like, are you kidding me? You cannot stop human progress simply because we feel bad about the, wood-breasted cuckoo chirper. You know what I mean? I don't know. But again, I will stay very strongly committed to my defense of gorillas, lions, tigers, wolves, pigs, cows. I don't know, the ones that seem important in my daily life.
Well, I think everyone's conflicted on this. because you pick your battles, and then if you look at preservation, why would you give a crap of what was on the other side of the world in terms of an existing species of animal if it never affected you in North America, for example?
Okay, but if those people are like, hey, this is an animal indigenous to us and we like them, I'd go, let them make the decision. Let them decide to save their animal over there. I don't know why I got to be involved in the Asian penguin or whatever you name it. It's not part of my world.
But they fundraise over
Sure
here.
they do. And that's why I say one at a time.
And that's where I say I think the world is conflicted. I mean, it's like
there's a lot of people who are preservationists for preservationist sake because it's somehow a brand or something they want to be associated with. So they want to say that they support all of these things. Half these people don't even know anything about the animals or the species or whatever it is that they're fighting for. They signed up for PETA freshman year of college, and now they're in their 30s and they're still getting the newsletter. James?
Okay, so do we want to start talking about the big fish here?
What's the big fish?
So the big fish is
whales.
No. The criteria is we're talking about things that are antagonistic to human beings. So I started with the sticker because no one likes a sticker, and you can't make the point that even if it's someone's food, it'll collapse the ecosystem. So what's the deadliest animal to humans on Earth every year, bar none? It's the mosquito. It's not a trick question or whatever. Well, but the mosquito kills more humans. It was like 600,000 last year.
It's not an animal, though. It's not an animal. It's an insect.
All right, fine. Insect. Whatever. It's a species that deserves to be wiped out. But hang on. Let me put some little caveats in there. There's like I think it's like 3,000 different species of mosquitoes, and there's only about 100 of them that actually bite humans. So you can't tell me that if we just selectively got rid of that 100 different species of mosquitoes that bite humans and pass around diseases that kill more human beings than any other animal on Earth by factors of a bajillion, that we can't afford to deal and adapt to society under that new non-mosquito paradigm.
I got to recuse myself on the mosquito thing. James, I'm not sure you're aware of this or not, but I don't get bit by mosquitoes. Mosquitoes have never bitten me. I've never gotten a mosquito bite. They land on, it's a party trick. You can be outside drinking and I'll show you. Everybody will be complaining about mosquitoes. I'll put my arm out. You'll see one will land for a second and immediately take off. Apparently I got sour blood. My mom doesn't get bit either. My kid does.
Participate in the discussion.
Nope. No, I can't. I got no hate. As Ali said about the Viet Cong, I got no hate for the yellow man. I got no hate for the mosquito. He ain't never done nothing to me. So you take this fight up among the two of you.
Well, the mosquito for me needs to be out of here. I have no need for the mosquito.
Right. And so
if I could be shown how the mosquito somehow bettered the world, I might say okay, but at this point, if I had the button, I'd press it.
They're pretty much most famous for irritating people and spreading disease. So, I think you guys might be on the right side of history here.
Well, it's by far the deadliest animal in human history. It used to be at any time.
Not an animal.
All right, fine.
No, because I want to talk about the deadliest animal because that's a good question. I don't know what.
There would not be a snake.
I don't know what that's
it.
not an animal either. What is the deadliest animal? Because I want to talk about that. Is it a dog or is it a pig? Because I think it might be a pig, maybe a horse. It's got to be animals with constant proximity to humans. It can't just be like a lion, because a lion, a lot of people don't get killed by a lion, but a lot of people get thrown from horses every year or get mauled by pigs. So I'm wondering, dogs. What do you think? What do you think?
I don't think it's fair to like put the horse in that category. Being thrown from a horse is not necessarily the horse's fault. You shouldn't have been on the horse to begin with.
That's true. You should not be on the horse. The natural reaction for a horse to throw you. But it's also a natural reaction of a bear to maul you to death, James.
Okay, so let's talk about what constitutes an animal death. Would you say if, like, I ate this certain snail and I got an infection and died, that I was killed by a snail?
I would say yes. You got a bad crustacean.
No, you willingly ingested the snail, so no.
Oh, wait, okay. No, wait. Hold on. Give me that. Present that scenario to me one more time.
All right, so there's a freshwater snail that carries a parasitic worm that a lot of people eat on the other side of the planet because they're gross, and it kills about 20,000 people a year. It's third world countries where they eat everything.
Yeah.
So I like Emil's rationale that the animal didn't kill him because they willingly ate it and they just happened to get sick and die from it. And I think that kind of rules out mosquitoes too. But I'm just saying, for the purposes of my discussion on here, like, not only should we not be preserving all species of life on Earth, we should start a worldwide campaign to eradicate these 100 species of mosquitoes that infect people, millions of people every year, of which 600,000+ die. And we need to start wiping these dudes out. I think that would be a great cause, a worthy cause, better than recycling your Dr. Pepper can.
Well, no, yeah, we do, but that's because we have no idea what the counter argument to this is. I mean, we're just sitting here thinking.
Well, but they are the aggressor.
Is there a counter argument? Like wiping out will this have some kind of effect that we're just not aware of right now? We don't know what the hell we're talking about. Never forget that, guys. James is just pissed at mosquitoes and he wants to wipe out an entire strain of them. I'm simply saying, let's find out. Let's see. Is there a problem with wiping them out? Because you know what? Honestly, I know I had recused myself, but if there is no problem, let's just wipe them out. I'm with you. Well, let's listen. Let's see. And what if that? Go ahead.
Well, my feeling is this war's been going on for a long time. This isn't the first year that the mosquito has come out and been the aggressor. I don't go after the
mosquito. It's like a little
the
Irish
mosquito
guy he fought when he was a kid.
Well, either or, but any one of the 3,000 species or the 1,000 that consume human blood, those little bastards there, every year they come out as the aggressor. And we spray and they come back, and we spray and they come back. They have these spraying things, and then we watch the thing, and then somehow they pick up West Nile, and then and so I'm with James. I think we should be on the offensive. I don't really care what the aftermath is.
All right, whatever. All right, forget it. Hey, I pointed out that there's a break in this car that's speeding down the eradication of mosquito highway. I'm just saying maybe we should wait.
But they crossed the line. They're an aggressor.
Nobody's going to argue with nobody likes mosquitoes. I just don't have any hate in my heart for them because they've never crossed me.
I think you'd be interested to see, Pugs, if you go try and find the answer to some of these questions you're asking, like, why wouldn't we do it? There's not a pro-mosquito side to this argument.
Okay. And as long as that's the fact, then let's move forward.
Next step.
We've done our due diligence.
All right, next step. You're not going to like some of these answers.
Wait. Before we move on, and I don't want to spend a lot of time on this, but what do you think is the deadliest animal?
That's what I'm going to.
Oh, okay.
All right. So I know this. Well, it's mosquitoes, and on a bad year, we're talking 750,000 people. But the next
insect.
Okay, the next one that of an animal that
mammal
beings, humans.
Yeah.
Okay. If you want to talk about animal in the way we all think of animals, it would be the snake. We're talking about 100,000, and that's just snake bites, and it's not really the same thing. Dogs do 35,000 deaths a year.
That's what I'm looking for. Dogs, because of proximity to humans. Dogs are around humans constantly. Therefore, there's a greater possibility of something going haywire. But, you would think the lion, but lions aren't around people a whole lot. There's not a lot of opportunities for lions. Way more opportunities for dogs. Okay, so dogs. Thank you.
Right. So in ways where you want to talk about animals more so than just a snake biting you and you die from venom, I mean an animal that like rips you apart. You're talking about crocodiles. If you want to talk about actual mammals besides dogs, I mean, it's wild.
Crocodile's a reptile. I want to know about animals. I want a four-legged, hot-blooded animals.
That now you're talking about the hippo.
Really? The hippo?
500 deaths per year. Yeah.
You know why that is? That's because you have never seen a hippopotamus depicted in a cartoon that was anything other than a lovable fat girl. Every hippo we've ever seen depicted come out of, Hollywood has always been like a lovable fat girl in a tutu. That has always been. So I think people think of hippos as being kind.
And it sort of held the proto Lizzo position, culturally speaking.
Yeah. Is that what you're thinking?
Like, look at that big sassy girl go. I love her.
I do. I think
that would be about hippos.
I think people would be less afraid. Like if you saw a hippo and a rhino, I think the average person would be like, "Oh, let me pet the hippo." No, that hippo's gonna kill you.
Right. I know you think the hippo is going to look cute in the lingerie like Lizzo does, but no, that is a killing machine. Some years though, it's elephants. Some years, if you go look through the stats, it's about 500 each every year, but usually the hippo beats them out. And it was hippo for a long time, but there's been a few anomaly years where the elephant beats them out. You would think lions would be up there, only about 20 or 30 deaths a year, and that's basically all in Africa and India. Wolves, only 10 deaths a year. Sharks, 6. That's lame.
Yeah, sharks aren't that. That's
So I know that's what some of the entries people are expecting, but there's a reason they don't make the top whatever list. They don't kill a lot of people. All right, so that was me. We need to actively persecute and cause extinctions of certain species. We need to identify it and just start going down the list like Steve Buscemi and Billy Madison and marking them off with our lipstick, bro.
Ones we don't need. Yeah. All right, very good. All right, I got E. Do you have anything?
Oh no, right. I'm just here.
Thanks. Glad you worked so hard on the show.
Got a little way. He's just here to hang out. He's here to hang out and to attempt to throw us into the mud and give us some form of
yeah, that's what I thought my role was. Not to be ready.
Yeah. Well, it's okay. You just sit there and be good. Because I've got a topic that I think you're going to be interested in. I've been wanting to talk about this with you guys for the last couple of months. We've been teasing it, and over the last few days on the noon show, there have been a couple of stories that have gotten me just openly just talking about it, and I wanted to have this conversation with you guys, and it's the long-awaited conversation about the current state of legal weed in Texas. And now why do I want to talk about this today? Because I have discovered something. James, are you still buying your illegal Delta 8 vapes and all that stuff at the store, or have you gone back to the illicit black market?
Why not both?
Okay. Why not just mix it up a little bit? But the point is that here in the state of Texas, you can now walk into, any one of these CBD smoke shops, whatever. I don't even know what they're branding themselves as right now. I might suggest Sacred Oils at 13740 Midway Road there in Farmers Branch, Texas. Pugs 20 gets you 20% off anything at all you buy there. Everything from the flowers to the Delta 8, all of these things. So I made the statement that, weed is basically legal in Texas. If you want to get high, if you want the effects of getting high, and especially if you're someone who has already moved into the vaping world, you know what I mean? It's basically legal. You can walk in anywhere and you can buy the same stuff you used to buy from that dealer, but somehow it's legal. Okay, so that's very confusing. We don't really seem to understand how that happened, but here we are in 2023, and that is the reality. I think, and this is something I've been talking about on the news show, I think that we'd all expected this to be sort of like gay marriage. Like all of a sudden with the stroke of a pen and the flip of a light switch, one day it was going to be illegal and the next day it's going to be legal. Well, that might work in certain parts of the country, and it has. We've seen it. It's now in a whole bunch of states. But that ain't going to work everywhere, where, there are people with other agendas that, for whatever reason, want to keep it going. I'm talking about the South. Of course I am. So what I think we've witnessed here in Texas, because of these combination of laws, the 2018 agriculture law that was signed at the federal level by Trump, and then the 2019 state agriculture laws that were signed by Abbott here, both concerning hemp and hemp extracted products, which led to this current state where we are. So it's not going to be a light switch. It's going to be a slow creep of legalization until one day we're just going to wake up and we're going to go, oh, yeah, it's kind of been legal for like 5 years. So that's where we are. And James, go ahead. You can dismiss yourself. James is going to go get himself a drink. But I want to talk to you about a new discovery in this world of, do you know what the Delta is and all of that? Do you know what all of that stuff is, what it means? Tell me what's your understanding of all of this, because there has been a new discovery that is now appearing in vape pens that is going to blow your mind. But go ahead.
Well, I mean, I just know of Delta 8 and Delta 9, and that there's more Delta 9 in actual weed than there is Delta 8.
Okay, so good. You brought up, you're going to start hearing the deltas. Delta 8 and Delta 9. Delta 8 is the most abundant form of psychoactive THC that you find in weed. When you all the weed you've ever bought and you've gotten high, that was from Delta 9 that's in weed. And it is the most abundant. It is everywhere. So that's the stuff that got classified as illegal as far as marijuana and all that stuff. Delta 8, that's the bad, or Delta 9, that's the bad THC. However, there's like hundreds of different kinds of THC and psychoactive strains going on there. It's just that Delta 9 is the most abundant. So what they've been able to do through this new hemp law is basically extract all of these different kinds of psychoactive THCs. So now you've got your Delta 8s, which is everything Delta 9 is. It just isn't illegal. It was just never made illegal because it's in very small quantities in there. It's the Delta 9 that is everywhere in a nice piece of weed. But Delta 8 is the same stuff. It's also going to get you high. It's just not as much of it. Now, there is this new stuff that was discovered in 2019, and it is now starting to appear in different brands. And I've got a couple of brands for you here. Good. James is back. So I'm gonna ask as soon as James gets his headphones on, and he's getting his headphones on. James, can you hear us? Okay. We were just talking about the deltas and how Delta 9 is still what is the illegal weed. Delta 9, Delta 8 is also a psychoactive THC strain that is not as abundant in weed as Delta 9, but it's still there. And it's not illegal. Delta 9 is, Delta 8 is not. So you can pull the Delta 8 out. Okay. So a couple of French doctors in 2019, they started screwing around with the different hemps and the different strains and the different active ingredients and all that kind of stuff. James, are you familiar with THC? Wait, hold on. I'll make sure I get this right. Are you familiar with THCP? THCP.
No.
Oh, well, I'm sorry. Okay, so your mic wasn't on. How about you? Are you familiar with THCP?
I am not.
THCP is a completely legal form of Delta 8. Okay, completely legal. That is 33 times more powerful than Delta 9. And it's completely legal. And it is, okay. So let me read you what this stuff is, okay? THCP, is it really 33 times stronger than THC? Okay. Here's what it says. THCP is a recently discovered cannabinoid that's found at very low levels in some strains of marijuana and can be produced in a laboratory by altering legal hemp-derived CBD. It was found accidentally by Italian researchers in 2019. The full name for THCP is Delta 9 tetrahydrocannabiporphyral. So it's a Delta 9, but it's not classified as illegal because they're pulling it out of legal hemp that has no Delta 9, even though this that is inside of it has Delta. Do you see how confusing this is and how this is all a crazy loophole?
Well, it also sounds like a crazy loophole in the fact that just because it comes derived from legally harvested hemp, or they can say it was, and have no way of proving or disproving the hemp plant of origin once it's been separated out and goes to a different facility, Yeah,
so, I'm sure there's a lot of that going on. I mean, it's the Wild West out there as far as this. This is a brand new economy. But here's the official, what they're claiming. So THCP is an organic cannabinoid, very similar to Delta 9 THC, which is Delta 9 is the most abundant cannabinoid in most strains of marijuana. Although first identified in a particular marijuana strain, THCP can also be manufactured in a lab by chemically manipulating CBD from hemp plants. So it's another one of these things that it's in there. It's just dormant naturally until you take it out and add it with something else that is natural. And I guess it's like steroids. It's like, how you can make a tomato that is gigantic and beautifully orange. Once you get these strains in a lab, these doctors, these scientists, they can make things bigger and more beautiful. And because they're now using legal hemp-derived plants as the starting point, it's all legal because everything derived from hemp is also legal, as stated in both the 2018 bill and the 2019 bill.
Which is where I think the loophole is. So now I say, hey, I want you to send me hemp in hundreds of pounds, and what I'm ultimately doing with the hemp is different than what I tell you I'm doing. So, okay, I'm going to make furniture out of this hemp. I'm going to make clothing out of this hemp. And so now you're sending me hemp in pounds that are turning into extracts that are now in cartridges.
The bulk of the hemp nobody's making hemp chairs. They're all creating CBD oils out of it for legal CBD.
Right.
So that's what they're doing. They know they're
No, Pugs. The law says this is for ropes. This is for making ropes. So we can make a macrame swing on my hippie aunt's apartment.
That's not what the law says. And maybe that's certainly not what they intended, because this was a very
hemp is very good for making ropes.
It's okay. Just ask sailors and pirates from the 1700s. All right, so here's the big question we want to know. Does THCP get you high? And there's a question mark here, right? The Italian researchers who discovered organic THCP found in experiments on cultured human cells that THCP binds 33 times more effectively with human CB1 receptors. So the reason we get high is because we've got these CB1 receptors that are, in our brain, that once they get hit with this, they go, we're high. Apparently, this stuff, this THCP, because of the way it's molecularly built, they always have the little balls and the spikes, and, they look like these. Apparently, it's got 33 more connection points. So here, I'll read that to you again. The Italian researchers who discovered organic THCP found in experiments on cultured human cells that THCP binds 33 times more effectively with CB1 receptors than Delta-9 THC does. So it's with straight up marijuana, this shit goes directly to your brain quicker and more effectively, 33 times more effectively than all the weed you've ever smoked in your life. So that's what they're saying. Does it get you high? This is the way.
But do you have enough serotonin to support
that?
Well,
let's go on. Let's see. Apparently, I don't know, because they haven't tested it on humans for long enough, so they don't really know. Let's see here. Probably because of its. Okay, that's it. THCP found in experiments on cultured human cells that THCP binds 33 times more efficiently with CB1 receptors than Delta-9 THC, probably because of its extended 7-atom side chain. Whatever. What are we, scientists?
The old 7-atom side chain.
There you go. It's just hooking up to
another
your
one
CB
of those.
receptor.
Yeah, if I had a nickel.
Well, I feel like I'm qualified to speak next. Go ahead.
The CB1 receptor in the human brain is the most important cannabinoid receptor for creating psychoactive effects. So that's a fancy way of saying this is how you get high. Your CB1 receptor goes, we're high. Okay. But THCP also binds more readily with your CB2 receptor, which means the effect should last longer. Okay. So remember, the question here is, does it get you high? Now, that doesn't mean that THCP will get you 33 times higher than traditional Delta-9. There is probably a limit to any cannabinoid's ability to stimulate the endocannabinoid receptors, and each person reacts differently to every cannabinoid anyway. But while some of THCP's 33 times greater binding affinity may be wasted on already overloaded cannabinoid receptors, it seems likely that THCP will be more potent than Delta-9 THC for most people. So to answer the question, does THCP get you high? It might get you very high. And that's all it says. And I can tell you.
And isn't that the awesomeness of marijuana? Like, there's not one person that's a marijuana smoker that you were talking about getting high and ultra high and super, super higher and higher than you ever could possibly get, that he was going, oh, wow, man, I'm afraid I'm going to die. I'm afraid if I get a hold of that stuff, it's going to kill me. You just don't have that existence if you're a marijuana smoker.
Yeah, I mean, I think some people with absolutely no experience might get too high once, and then they'd be like, "I didn't like it," but nothing's gonna happen.
Not
That's just,
die,
yeah, no, nobody
not
ever dies from
fentanyl,
marijuana.
not fentanyl. Oh, you
No.
hit this stuff and it was so strong that it's going to wipe you out. Like that does not happen with marijuana. I mean, it'll happen with alcohol before that would happen with marijuana.
Yeah, that's one of the great arguments for weed legalization that seems to be like there's no comeback for it. You can smoke marijuana all day for the whole day and you'll be fine. I mean, you'll stink and probably fall asleep soon. But if you drink all day, you get alcohol poisoning. If you do heroin all day, you'll overdose. You do cocaine all day, you'll overdose. You do meth all day, you'll overdose. But weed doesn't have a ceiling like that.
Well, you stop getting high. I mean, you know what I mean? I've been on benders where we're partying all weekend, and it's just like you're just wasting it at some point. You know what I mean? Because your body's just like, yeah, I think I'm pretty much as high as I'm gonna get. I've never been so high that I've slept for 2 days. You know what I mean? I've never had that. So I don't know.
It just is, it's not going to happen with weed.
Yeah.
It's just not. It can't.
Okay, so here's the big question here. Is THCP legal and where is it sold? Congress legalized hemp in all of its compounds and derivatives in the 2018 Farm Bill, as long as they contain less than 0.3% of Delta 9, which they all do because they found other things that'll get you high other than Delta 9. And again, Delta 9 is the only one that's illegal because it's the most abundant, and they didn't really do any tests on it, so they didn't know there were all these other things that could get you high in weed other than, Delta 9. So that's why it's illegal. Okay. In May of 2022, a federal appeals court confirmed that Delta 8 THC is a legal hemp product. So there you go. So it was reaffirmed when it was challenged most recently.
You realize how great this is going to be just for how much weight is off everyone's shoulder? Not everyone, but so many people's shoulders now. Because now, if you're like a Black Lives Matter activist and you're worried about some young black man getting pulled over by cops and then saying, oh, I smell weed, I have to search your car. Well, now smelling weed is not a sign that you're necessarily breaking the law because there's so many legal alternatives. No. There's now a legal case to be made that's a violation of your Fourth Amendment right. Some libertarians have always thought was a violation of search and seizure. And I think things like this are going to have to necessarily go away. Wait, we're about to start seeing court cases on this in about 6 months. I'm no legal expert, so I don't know what the timetable is going to be, but I've seen enough of these.
It's been challenged at the federal level already, and it's not. Nobody's made anything. There isn't really an
state that's pulling you over. It's not a federal guy that's pulling you over. So I think the court case would go to
municipalities like Farmers Branch. You might end
up.
So
no longer. Are you guys saying that no longer you can be pulled over because of the smell of marijuana?
It certainly is more difficult. Certainly is more difficult given the state of, No,
I'm forecasting that there are going to be court cases that do away with the idea that once you are pulled over, they can further search your vehicle because they say they smell marijuana. And that's always been such a piece of garbage affront to our rights because you can't prove or disprove what a cop smelled, right? Or if he even smelled anything. You just say, I smelled weed, so I searched your car. Did you find anything? No.
You can walk down the street with these vape pens, these legal vape pens, and you could just smoke right. I mean, I don't know.
Right, but I think the argument
anymore. That used to be the telltale, right? You could catch your teenage kid getting high because you could smell the weed. You can't do that anymore. Your kid could be in his room with a vape getting blitzed, and you will never know.
Right, but I think for the purposes of what James and I are talking about, it's immediately you would argue that was the smell of marijuana that you were getting, and therefore it was already assumed it was illegal because it was marijuana, and so that gave you the right to go ahead and further search. In this case, that inhale smell that you get could literally be coming from that of what would be legal hemp, and now that legal hemp smell does not give you the right to go past go, because that is not an illegal smell like it was before.
Here's what we're seeing in Texas, and I'm looking right now at a story. This was from 4/28/23, so just a couple of months back in the Dallas Observer about this very situation. What's happening here, at least locally in North Texas, is that yes, there are still these not common, but infrequent situation where a cop is being a dick and he's going to bust a bunch of kids. You know what I mean? There's going to be that. But what they're saying here, what we're finding in North Texas, is the prosecutor's offices are not pressing charges. They're going, yep, nope, we don't even want to open this can of worms. So yeah, so if a dick cop can still arrest you and be wrong, because this is a very confusing law. People get arrested and set free all the time because cops, had the wrong guy. So yeah, that can still happen to you. You can still get jacked around by a cop. But what we're seeing is that none of these charges are being taken up by local prosecutors. They're all being thrown away and said, yeah, this is such a tentative thing going on right now. Let's not. I mean, because they're looking at the idea of having to let a lot of people out of prison in the coming years because people are in jail for things and they're not going to continue prosecuting. These people who are currently like the Collin County prosecutor, they might want to be governor someday. So they're very aware of what their prosecution record looks like now. It's very political and it's very confusing. So yes, a dick cop can hassle you and make you spend a night in jail, but you're not going to be prosecuted.
All right. So can we all agree now that we've had legal weed here in Texas for however long it's been? And all these
at least 3 months by my count. I just became aware of it. How about you? I mean, I was not aware.
I guess I never walked into the vape shops that I saw popping up on every corner.
Right.
But in retrospect, something had to be going on her. And now when you walk in, it's like, oh, wow, I got it. Yeah.
It's true. All the vape stores have now rebranded. They've all had smoke and vape to their thing. I think that's the wink wink. I think that's letting people know that we don't just have cranberry flavored vape juice. We've now got, wink wink, the legal smoke. Because
flower.
There are 3 of them. If you just go to the end of the block here in Highland Park, there is 3 within walking distance of the Whole Food, which sits at the corner of Lemon, and there's 2 on one side of the street and 1 on the other. So I don't know how they're staying in business. That never looks like they're jam packed. And, right. And you're competing with gas stations now. So you walk into gas stations and they have this stuff.
E is now in the legal weed business. Can we have like a strain of the month club where every month we'll brand?
His weed ain't legal here with us. We got to figure out how to make that a thing. But right now we can't smoke his weed. That's illegal. We could buy the legal stuff.
Okay, well, the stuff that he's growing in the pots that exist now, yeah. But I'm saying in the future we'll come up with another batch that's legal and sell that, since he's now a farmer. And I just like the idea of a strain of the month club. And if no one's offering that already, maybe Emil could start it.
You really want the samples. You really want the monthly gift bag that comes from the Weed of the Month Club.
Right.
Well, I just think someone like Emil would really appreciate that.
Oh, I definitely think that there is going to be distribution like that in states where it is recreational. I mean, why not? If you can have a customer that can purchase your product on a regular basis and you're growing on a regular basis, it would make sense.
So let me, before we move away from this, I'm just looking at this Observer article about how confusing the current situation here in North Texas is with this stuff. Now, one of the other things we've found interesting, and we've mentioned this before, is this phenomenon where certain things that we can buy in stores, we buy them and they're legal. But the minute we take them home and add heat to what we just bought, now suddenly we're breaking the law because there is a chemical reaction that is occurring, and in this chemical reaction, an illegal thing is being born, which is the illegal Delta 9, right?
Right.
We've all heard about this. So here's what the Observer says about that. So again, think about that. You can buy something in a store. Oh, thank you. No laws broken. But then when you use the product as it's intended to be used with, I'm sure, instructions on the box that you just got, you are suddenly breaking the law.
You know, that's how I felt when they made Four Loko illegal. They're like, you can't have a caffeinated drink and alcohol mixed together like that. That's just too dangerous. It's like, but I can still buy a caffeinated drink and alcohol and just put them in the same cup, right?
So in this little piece, they're talking about THCA. Now, remember, we talked earlier about THCP. THCA is the version of Delta 8 that is completely legal until you heat it up. And then when you heat it up, it becomes illegal. Here's what it says about that. THCA isn't psychoactive. But when it's heated, like a joint, for example, it turns into Delta 9, which is very psychoactive. So at that point, when you're legally going into that smoke shop and you're buying those beautiful flowers, those nice little buds of the THCA, you're not breaking the law. But when you take them home and do what you're supposed to do with those buds, a chemical exchange occurs, and suddenly THC or Delta 9 is produced. And now you're in possession of something that's illegal. Blame God. God did it, not me.
You know what
is that just not the perfect cover though?
Yeah, it's crazy. It just shows how absurd. It just, for a guy like me who believes all of this is a bullshit construct that we're all just going along with because it's too tiring to fight all the time, this just proves how absurd and what an obvious construct this all is.
The only way you get caught is in the act of doing it. And now you can essentially move it around in a way where it's not illegal until somebody actually sees you heating it up. I mean, that is, and even then when they're gone, the smell of it heated up doesn't even necessarily mean that you heated up something that was illegal.
Okay, so let me tell you about something else that's absolutely insane. So there are two ways that now you might know about this. There are two distinct ways to test marijuana to figure out what their compounds are and what they are at the molecular level. There are two ways to do it. Both of them completely accepted at the federal level and at all mid-levels. One of these ways can tell you exactly how much illegal Delta 9 is in. And the other way can't tell you at all because it doesn't know how. And it's up to the individual to choose which lab they go to. Guess which lab gets all the work? Guess the one that doesn't, it doesn't have any Delta. It doesn't have any of the illegal Delta 9 in here. But then again, we don't have the capabilities to test for that. Oh, well, you lucked out. And then they stamp them and they end up in stores. And it's exactly what we think it is. It's just straight up weed. Here's what it says. It said, Maxwell said this assumption would likely be backed up by lab tests provided by THCA manufacturers, which say the products have less than 0% Delta and therefore are compliant with U.S. and Texas hemp laws. But these tests don't always tell the full story. And because they don't tell the full story, they are putting retailers and customers in direct line of fire from law enforcement. So basically what the story is saying, because of one of these tests is a sham, and that's the one everybody's going for. And the other one actually does the good job, and we'll tell you, if you want to be. So everybody's going for the sham, and then they're selling that tested stuff legally, and then people are buying it and getting busted by cops with it in small town Oklahoma or wherever, whatever, picture your imagination. And then those cops are testing that weed in the other way, the way that tells you exactly what's in there, and then these people are going to jail. So, it seems like maybe it's just a way to...
It's a shell game.
Yes, it certainly does appear to be a shell game. Because guess what? The police and the prosecutors, they ain't using the old school way that doesn't really give you the best results. They're using the really good modern way that breaks it down and will put your ass in jail. Okay, so it's the difference between gas chromatography. Gas chromatography covers THCA gas chromatography converts THCA into delta-9 THC. It's not a preferred method of testing by the industry, Maxwell said, but it is preferred by law enforcement agencies. See, that's the stuff that really breaks it down. The Texas Department of Public Safety told Maxwell that its in-house labs use exclusively gas chromatography. That's the way that really does. So law enforcement, they're using the good stuff. The people who sold that to you with a wink and a nudge and told you it was legal, it's legal, but only on paper. You know what I mean? I don't know how strong.
Right. It's not the goods that they're saying that it is.
So it's gas chromatography versus hydrochromatography. A difference between using gas and using, I don't know, what am I? But anyway, it's.
So how long do we see the new specials where they're going to be going in and just raiding these CBD shops in broad daylight
with their giant gas chromatography machine in the parking lot? Just everything going. Like scanning shit. Nope. Nope.
I would like your wisdom on the great comment from Barney.
Barney says, okay, I've never had not even one marijuana in my life. I have a couple weeks vacation coming up in July. How should I start? Well,
first off, don't you feel kind of complimented that
let me take a puff off my THCP 33 times stronger vape pen.
I know, right? But someone's going to start a new drug and they're asking you for your opinion. I mean, is there a bigger compliment than that? You're literally a weed farmer. What do you think?
Well, I mean, I think in the instance of if I was going to get somebody started on a drug, it would be weed. It would be weed. So I don't feel I don't feel guilty for that.
No, dude. No, how should he start?
Yeah,
weed?
how should he start? So like he obviously, you know, there's tools and you got to know how to use a bong, and you come to it from a friend who introduces you. So you slowly learn by observing, and before you know it, you know how to roll a joint, you know how to load a bong, right? So this guy doesn't have any of those skills. So he's coming in like a freshman from Yugoslavia trying to play American football.
Like pipe, bong, joint, blunt, edible, gummy, vape. It's any of that stuff.
So I would go to essential oils and tell them you're a beginner.
No, you'd go to Sacred Oils.
Or Sacred Oils.
Yeah. I was gonna say that's why I wanted to show them this. Here's what you do. Okay, this is great. This is terrific. This gives you everything you need. This is what I have. What I was just showing you. This new THCPA. It's a brand called Mellow Fellow, and it comes, just a little vape pen. It all comes like this. You don't have to do anything with it. See, got a little hat. You take the little hat off it, and then you don't even have to plug it in. It comes all charged up. It does have a charger on the bottom. If this should last you like a couple of weeks. I mean, I don't know how much you smoke, but this does all of that for you, Barney. You just walk into and it doesn't have to be this. There are any number of brands, but I really like the Mellow Fellow. MK Ultra. All the Mellow Fellows are designed after artists like this is Salvador Dali. This one is Georgia O'Keeffe, right? So there's like a whole bunch of these, and they're all very artistic and creative. And I would do this is if you've never been high before, I think this is a good place to start, James. Something like this. You don't have to, it's easy.
So you said it was called MK Ultra?
Yeah, this is MK. This is the stuff that I have right here, which contains the THCP, which is it contains THCP and Delta 8. It's called Dali's, as in Salvador Dali, because these are the Mellow Fellow brand is all.
I love that branding. Do you know what MK Ultra is in history?
Yeah, Operation MK Ultra. It was the mind control.
The CIA.
Men Who Stare at Goats was a movie made about it. But so it trips your brain out. This is the 33 times what regular receptor. You know what I mean? That thing I just read. So yeah, it's MK Ultra. Salvador Dali, he was a weird guy. It's supposed to trip your brain out. I'm high. It definitely gets you high. It's like one puff and you're high.
And there are two different strands. There's indica and sativa, like based. And so Indica is going to be more of a body high, and
Mhm.
sativa is going to be more of a head high. And so those are two things that I would do too if I had never indulged. I would indulge it in one in a sativa based and one indica based.
Or you could just get a hybrid. You know, those are fairly common
Well,
now
but I
too.
think I'd like to know,
Know the
feel the
difference? Sure.
difference. You know,
Uh,
be able to tell the difference.
Here's a good little stoner way to remember that there, Barney. Indica into the couch. Indica will sink you into the couch. It'll chill you the F down. Indica into the couch. Sativa is the other one. Sativa's gonna make you, if you're a writer, if you're a painter, if you're a comedy guy, whatever. You know, if you like movies, that's what the sativa will do. It'll totally make you creative and charge you up. Indica, you want to chill out. Sativa, if you want to pretend to write a novel.
And you
James,
can go at it with an edible too. You don't have to
I
vape.
don't like edibles. I really don't.
Edibles are swimming in the baby pool.
I don't like-
What he really wants to do is rip a bong for
Yeah.
your first time. Just
Yeah.
overdo it. Get a little hammered, eat a bunch, watch Old School or Brain Candy or something. Big.
Well,
Lebowski.
this sounds like a viral video. I think we need to invite Barney over. We need to make a video, and we need to all sit around and smoke out with Barney for his first time.
I'm trying not to end up covered in blood on a rock, naked. What? Like the weed is not going to let that happen.
No, dude. You know what? Here's what you do. Here's what you do for your first time. You get yourself a nice hotel room. And I mean, treat yourself. Find a nice hotel room. And you get yourself some weed, some of this vape stuff. You just go and you watch movies all weekend. You order room service. You just get baked. You eat Sundays at 10 in the morning. No rules. Enjoy your weekend. You ain't going to end up bloody on a rock. You're going to have the nicest, most relaxing weekend of your life.
Stay at your house when you're high.
Or stay at your house, man. Staycation works.
Yeah.
I don't know. I know when you're ready to end up naked on a rock in the woods covered in blood. I know a guy. We'll get you.
That sounds very coke. If you're telling me you want to do coke for the first time, you might end up naked on a rock in the woods, but not, or meth or something like that.
Does this conclude today's walk through the update in legal weed?
Yeah. This concludes it. You got anything else?
Well, not on the legal weed front.
No, what do you got?
I did the stickers already, right? What was it?
Really?
Stickers are bugging you.
Stickers made your notes. All right, I'll bring something up. I'll bring something up that Ian and I were talking about the other night. Ian and I were talking about why is it that drunk chicks are so much more obnoxious than drunk dudes? Why is it that drunk chicks seem to go way harder when they're out in public and they're shit-faced?
Disagree.
Oh, you disagree? Ooh, James disagrees.
In a bar fight, you're thinking that a dude in a bar fight is not worse than a girl in a bar fight.
Oh my God. A dude in a bar fight, a drunk ass crazed dude in a bar fight can be reasoned with. A drunk ass chick cannot be reasoned with, man. I think it's almost like, here's why. Society, if you're a dude and you get drunk and sometimes you get into fights, you understand that there are certain rules of society that need to be adhered to in a fight, right? There are rules. There are things. Chicks don't have these rules. Chicks will crack you over the head with a bar stool, whereas a dude won't do that. Chicks are nuts, man. And I think it comes down to what they expect, what they think men act like. So in these moments, they try and amplify what they think men are like, and men ain't like that, James.
Well, no, I think it's more shocking when a drunk girl does dumb stuff, and it's more expected when a guy does dumb stuff. So you may notice it more. But there's a reason why 87% of prisoners in federal prisons are men, and it's not because they behave better while drunk.
Okay, but it's not also exclusively because of things they did when drunk. Men are in prison because men are just typically more violent creatures. We're talking about a one-on-one comparison. You show me a crazy drunk chick who's whacked out of her mind starting to fight. She's a dangerous person. Go ahead. You're jumping in.
Well, I think it's James's own argument that makes us right. He's saying that 87% of the people... people in prison, or a higher percentage of the people in prison are
Don't
men
quote his
versus
made
women.
up numbers.
I'll agree with that, but then I will, at the same time as agreeing with that, say that that is in fact what makes our point. Their behavior might be such that they should go to jail. We're talking about that woman, that whatever 13, that 20 percentile, that individual that is going like a wild animal at the bar is going with no filter. A dude
Hurricane
will pick
Amber.
up, he'll pick up a bottle and he'll contemplate, okay, if I do this, I am going to get arrested.
There is a
If I
recognition of the
don't
societal
do this,
expectations of your actions, and maybe guy will go to the hospital, maybe the guy will go home in handcuffs, whatever.
Right.
But at least there seems to be a recognition of it. Not with women; they're just barbarians.
like if they're like this, a dude is like, okay, this is sending a sign. I either might hit him and it may stop the fight, or I might go through with it and I will get some kind of assault and arrested and I will end up in jail. A woman, when she picks the bottle off of the bar, there is not a point where she is stopping. She has decided at the moment that she has picked up the bottle, that she is going to take the bottle to the head, which is exactly why if you're a male bouncer trying to separate females that are fighting, you are not ready for them because you are expecting a little bit of a filter like there is with a dude. And the next thing you know, you get clocked out of nowhere because your timing is entirely off. Women are so much faster to pull the trigger on death than men in a fight, in a bar fight, that dudes will let them go extra long just because they don't know when the right time to get in is. They'll bite your leg.
But also, unless we're talking about, some chick who trains MMA, the female drunk bar fight is also a spectacle because of just how unorthodox it is. I mean, nobody's like throwing real punches. They're whirling each other around by their hair extensions. They're pulling out. I mean, it's just so completely unorthodox. And you don't know how to subdue that. Like, when a girl is just like a whirling dervish of hurricane or whatever, just brawling, how do you contain that? With a dudes, when dudes fight, you can grab them from behind and a bunch of dudes can, but a girl is just going nuts. James, you're chomping. Go ahead.
Well, I'm not doubting that these girls exist, but they exist in smaller proportion than their male counterparts who also go crazy and end up being dangerous people in bar fights. Listen, I
think the greater spectacles are the females who act up. I think men act up, it's over quick, and nobody bats an eye. But women are the one. You remember the chick fights?
No, I got punched in my face at least once a year until I was about 26, right? And only like 4 times was it a girl, right? Out of the 100 times I've been punched in the face, only like 4 times has a girl done it. So I know that's anecdotal, but that's your experience. Pugs, you've been punched in the face more by dudes or chicks? Amel, dudes or chicks?
I don't think I've ever.
Oh, definitely dudes. Yeah.
Well, and guys, we murder,
but we're talking about the level.
I don't talk shit to girls, so I've been hit in the face by guys that I've talked shit to. I'm not talking shit to girls like that. You know what I mean?
That explains why the likelihood of male violence far outstrips that of females, even in drunk scenarios. Like, it's not even close. Like on the statistics, I know you like to think, well, they get wilder and they're crazier, but it's the proportions are not even close. Guys are far more dangerous, and I think that is an acceptable trade-off for all the chicks who get drunk and have the other reaction where they are now the life of the party, and oh, my shirt fell off and I'm just gonna make out with this guy. And the male equivalent of that isn't nearly as cool, so the trade-off totally sucks. We're more violent. We're less the life of the party. For the few chicks that do go crazy, it is worth it to tolerate all the chicks that go crazy in a good way. I like the chick crazy. I like them getting all drunk and losing their inhibitions, because most of them are not evil little violent hellions. Most of them are pretty awesome.
All right. There you have it. James has chimed in. He didn't change my mind. I was a bartender for a lot of years. I know what the crazy fighters were. There was wrong one. Wrong one. Hold on. There we go. Ooh, that's a little bit loud. All right, boys. We'll see you tomorrow. Anything in closing?
Night.
Anything in closing?
Yeah, go check out Florida Stories.
There you go.
I know I told you that before, but you haven't done it yet. And until you do that, I don't like you.
Okay. That's James Parker. That's also E. Away goes E. I am Pugs Moran. Join me tomorrow at noon for High Noon. Headlines, hot topics, current events, all the things that are being buzzed about and talked about. I'll give it to you. It's a cheat sheet. We don't spend a whole lot of time on any one subject. We tell you what's happening, tell you why it's trending or why it's a headline. I give you my hot take and we move on. That's every Monday through Friday, noon till whenever. A cheat sheet for your day. You should know everything. All right. That's going to do it. We'll see you. Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us today on this, the first official. We changed the name of the show. It's now Radio Misfits with Pugs, Parker, and E. There's a plan. Trust me. Bye, everybody. Love you. See ya. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I have got an old guitar, that is all I need. I don't need no 401, I don't have the greed. Down the road I'll travel, far from the comfort nest. I am on a never-ending quest. Tomorrow is another day, the best is yet to come. I have found a different way, so baffling to some. I can smile a little now, things are going good.